Hey everyone, this is Player One, and today I bring you a brief first impressions review of Yakuza Kiwami for the PlayStation 4. We also do in-depth reviews, pickups, unboxings, gaming podcasts, cover gaming news, and anything else we can think of. So please take a look at some of the other videos on our channel. Alright, let's get right to it. Yakuza Kiwami has been a long time coming. Fans of the series, like myself, have been waiting for an HD remake of the original Yakuza, and it's finally here. For those unaware, Yakuza is a long-running series, or action JRPG, inspired beat-em-up, with 7 games in the main story, one of which is a prequel. We have seen them all released here in the US except Yakuza 6, which is due in the West early next year. Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the original game, which released on the PS2 11 to 12 years ago, depending on what country you're in. We should be clear about the difference between a remake and a remaster. Too often we get remasters. These can be nice, but don't give the effect of a jump in production value remakes get. I like to think about it like the difference between the original Resident Evil on PlayStation 1 and the re-release on GameCube as a full remake, and then the remaster on PS4 and PC as a remaster. Sure, remasters are nice, but remakes truly take it to the next level. So what is Yakuza Kiwami? I think it's more remake than remaster, but there are some things to consider. More on that later. The game follows the story of Kiryu Kazuma and his return to society after being in jail for 10 years for a crime he didn't commit. Akira Nishikayama has been dealing with some tough times, mainly brought on by his terminally ill sister. His situation worsens when he murders the patriarch of the Tojo clan after the man kidnaps Kiryu and Nishiki's best friend, a woman named Yumi, who means a lot to Kazuma. Kiryu tells him to flee the scene with Yumi so that Nishiki doesn't end up abandoning his family in their time of need. This choice cost Kiryu 10 years of his life and the consequences of being banished from the Tojo clan. To give you an idea of how serious this story can get, this is only the prologue of the game. It can only get more dramatic from here, and it definitely does. Right away, we also see some new subplots that have been added to the original game, of which I won't spoil them here. However, some may feel that these subplots slow down the pacing of the beginning, and to some extent they do. But I think the payoff of seeing the side characters better fleshed out is more than worth the time. Once released from prison, we find out Nishiki has become corrupt with power, and that the Tojo clan blames Yumi and her estranged sister, Mizuki, for the loss of 10 billion yen. To confuse matters worse, Kiryu finds a little girl who claims she is Mizuki's daughter. This is a setup for one of the most dramatic entries in the series. Each one of the Yakuza games has some kind of twist at the core of its dramatic crime story that usually pays off beautifully, and this one is no exception. As far as story is concerned, you will not be disappointed, especially if you enjoyed Yakuza 0. The combat has been overhauled to match the multiple fighting styles of Yakuza 0. You start with the ultimate Dragon of Dojima style, but lose it after the 10 years in jail. Kind of a cool tease to later moves, I think. With the seriousness of the heavy story, there are a number of distractions that can give you a break from it. Most of these come in the form of engaging sub-stories, mini-games like batting cages, darts, karaoke, and of course, girls on bikinis wrestling on tree trunks with insect hats on, because hey, this is a Japanese game after all. A new Majima Everywhere mechanic has Majima randomly appearing all over Kamurocho to fight you. Think of it like a comical version of Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 that keeps coming back. It can be both entertaining and infuriating if you're not ready, so best to be ready for a fight at all times. Ultimately, you will want these encounters to take place, as it's one of the only ways to level up the Dragon of Dojima fighting style. Of course, this mechanic is separate from the random encounters with thugs that are the staple of the Yakuza series. This brings us to the combat. To me, Yakuza has always been an over-the-top beat-em-up, and that continues to be the case. Even though there is complexity present in the various combos and different fighting styles, it can get repetitive, especially comparing it to Yakuza 0. But I have yet to be bored playing through the fights, so I guess to each its own. The bosses can be annoying, since they heal up mid-battle, but with strategy and a little heat gauge, this can be alleviated, but you must be prepared for this. A change from Yakuza 0 is that you can gain experience in actual combat. I like the idea of buying your experience, but some people may like this more. And frankly, I miss cash falling from thugs' pockets after I beat them up. The graphics and textures have been revamped to match the Yakuza 0 engine, but many of the animations seem straight out of the PS2. Just walking around can be odd, as you will see dated NPCs in modern gen environments. It's something that Yakuza games have always kind of gotten wrong. The cutscenes that have been redone do look great, as good as they did in Yakuza 0. One thing that I am torn about is the size of the world. You basically focus just on Kamurocho, without the expanded versions of the city found in later games in the series. This means you will feel significantly confined if you play Yakuza 0, which had 2 main cities. I'm torn because I see how this stays true to the original, but I think it would have been nice to expand the city some to fit modern expectations. For this remake, Japanese voices are back with English subs, and I love that. The voice acting is superb and miles ahead of the English dub from the original Western release of the game. Okay, so what's the verdict? This is a steal for any gamer looking for a great story and some top quality entertainment. The story is a bit shorter than Yakuza 0, but at $29.99 launch price, I don't think you could go wrong picking this game up. If you like Yakuza 0, then you will feel right at home. Just keep in mind with the amount of reused assets, you will definitely feel maybe 2 at home. I would not recommend playing these 2 games back to back, but then again, I wouldn't recommend playing any 2 games in a series back to back. The point is that this game offers a great, unique story that is worth playing. If you have yet to jump on the Yakuza series, this is a great and probably the best place to jump in. Don't listen to those who don't know about the series or are paid reviewers that say you can start anywhere in the series. That's just not true. This series is meant to be played in order, and this is where you want to start. Plus, with the recently announced Kiwami 2 set to release in Japan soon, it's only a matter of time before you can get your hands on the rest of the series here in the West on modern consoles. You can be certain to enjoy the cinematic experience as there's nothing like it out there. More importantly, there is something for every RPG fan and fan of good storytelling to enjoy. Alright, so that is a brief review of my first impressions with Yakuza Kiwami. Please let me know what you think below and feel free to check out some of the other videos and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.